AT&T had the announcement with the most impact in terms of their digital life initiative with the extension of their home automation, home security service offering into the assisted living space. And I think that has the most impact because service providers are well positioned to leverage their customer relationships, to leverage their business relationships, to leverage their vast resources on both the technical side and the marketing side to really drive home automation and home security, smart home type applications out into the wider mainstream customer base. So for many years, home automation has been relegated to a very niche market status. On the one hand, either do-it-yourself, technophile hobbyists, or on the other hand, very expensive, multi-million-dollar MTV Cribs type implementations. What's really been missing has been that vast mainstream consumer market. And so AT&T and other service providers, cable operators and so forth, are well positioned to drive such services into the market, into the mainstream market. And we see the AT&T announcement as being emblematic of that push to drive an iconic M2M IoT service offering. Now, the second announcement, I think ultimately may have more impact. Not that Rayco Wireless itself is necessarily going to be in a position to have this impact, but their announcement of an application marketplace is emblematic of what we see as a shift in the paradigm of M2M from very siloed applications to much more of an internet-style access by third-party applications on top of a common platform. The situation that we are in now with M2M is that every application developer is essentially having to deploy their own smartphone, in essence. They're having to deploy their own sensors, their own infrastructure, their own back-end systems. And with the idea of having a service layer, we think that this opens the doors to allow third parties to come in as application developers, not worry about the data flows, the origin of those data flows, but simply plug into that infrastructure, be able to make use of that, and be able to unleash a tremendous amount of creativity. So some of these challenges are more technical in nature and they're being resolved. So common standards, common ways of defining M2M IoT applications and enabling interoperability are occurring now in standards development organizations such as One M2M. They're occurring in open source movements such as the All Seen Alliance. They're occurring in initiatives such as the British Hypercat organization. And so some of these technical challenges are being worked on, enabling security, end-to-end security, and privacy, both for infrastructure owners as well as the application developers, if they are third parties, is also essential. That is at, in our view, an earlier stage of development, but it is happening within the industry. More challenging than these technical issues are business issues related to determining developing the right business models such that sensor owners, data owners are incentivized to share, to open up their data to third parties. That needs to be worked out. And simply gaining acceptance for data owners to make their data available and access to their deployed infrastructure available is also a long-term project that is happening in the ecosystem, but is moving slowly. Really, it's the acceptance issue, fundamentally. The acceptance of opening up data, in part that's going to be solved by developing business models such that opening up the data and access, assuming that appropriate compensation, appropriate security and privacy mechanisms are in place, assuming those are in place, that will help to facilitate acceptance. But in a variety of vertical industries, companies are view the data as very proprietary. So gaining their acceptance to share even anonymized data is going to be a project for the ecosystem that's going to take quite a while, in our view, several years. But we think that it's going to happen more along a spectrum. So on the corporate side, it'll be much slower to achieve this interoperability vision for a true Internet of Things. On the consumer side and in the public sphere with smart cities, public transportation, we think that there's going to be a much quicker acceptance. So we see it happening in all spheres, but progressing at different rates.